What up, everybody? What up? All right, hang tight for just a second. I'm gonna chew some gum and go on my other channel to make sure this is monetized. I don't really get on YouTube a lot of YouTube live streams. You don't get much money from. At least me. I've done many live streams. They don't pay you very much. I always wondered why. Actually, it's interesting. Maybe because it's hard to put ads in while you're going live. I don't know. And I don't do any sponsorships or anything. So just watch me chew gum while I go live on this other, while I monetize my other number here, my other channel. I don't know why you don't get much money in live streams. It's weird, man. If you're on Rumble here, all right. Because I don't eat much, I do chew a lot of gum. There we go. We're on Rumble here too. I'm like the coach of the Seattle Seahawks. You know, that clown from USC. What's that guy's name? Who's the Seattle Seahawks coach? Not Dennis Erickson. He was Oregon State. I can't remember this guy's name. The freaking Seattle Seahawks. That clown used to be at USC. Went to Seattle. Been with Seattle for like 15 years now. Who's that guy's coach? The coach name for Seattle. Anybody? Jill, by the way, I was looking for some fingerlings in the Publix today in the grocery. Didn't have any. So that's weird. What's that about? Didn't have any fingerlings. I wonder if that's only an Indiana cuisine. Someone's got to tell me the name of the Seattle Seahawks coach, man. This is nuts. I can't believe I can't remember. It's not Dennis Erickson. It was he used to coach the Patriots too, man. Back when they went to the Super Bowl in the 90s against the Packers. Pete what though? Yes, right. Pete Carroll, that's it. Yes. Hey, look at Jennifer. Look at Jennifer kicking in there. All right. Can't stand the Seahawks. Pete Carroll, big old clown. What he did to Reggie Bush and those guys is a freaking. There's ads. There is ads on playback. Oh. Interesting. Okay. I would think. I just because I watch a lot of old live streams on my play. Like I don't catch me live, frankly. Every now and again, like my man Turtle Boy, I like him on occasion. I'll catch him live. Generally speaking, when I'm out in the yard or something like that, I'll listen to a live stream. That's generally because you don't really need to be too in depth. It's kind of background noise. You know what I'm saying? I'll listen to a live stream. That's generally speaking what I listen to that. I have a YouTube premium, so I don't have any ads anyway. We don't have a Menards. No, we don't have I don't think we have a Menards. Patriotic answer to Menards. It's a Lowe's. Okay. I had an ad when I entered entered just now. Sweet. Good. Keep watching those ads, man, because those ads pay the bills. And all that matters for you guys to be here is that I get my bills paid. All right. Always remember the priority is me to get my bills paid over you guys. Okay. All right, cool. So let's get rolling here. First thing I want to do while we're waiting for people to come in is I tell you, dude, I am blown away so far. The first chapter of this new book I'm reading, The Worship of Augustus Caesar. I tell you, this is completely different from what I anticipated. I literally didn't know what I anticipated. So Crow 777, CRROW 777 had mentioned this book in one of his podcasts. I said, all right, that'd be interesting to look at. I said, so I have had this sitting on my shelf for about probably 6 months or so. Anyway, so I want to share with you guys who the guy who wrote this book was. It's Alexander. Hold on a second. Alexander Del Mar. All right. And it's going to be. Oh, by the way, I was in Publix today. They had that Cher song. When you feel life after love. I literally, I am. If you want to torture me, all you have to do is have Cher song. Take me to New York City and put that Cher song. And I will. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything more torturous than that. Being in New York City and listening to that Cher song. Oh my goodness! Why is Cher so freaking? You tell me that Cher got to the top by talent, and I'm not saying she freaking did, heels up Kamala Harris stuff. I mean, who's going to want to? But what I'm saying is, dude, these people have sold their souls to rock and roll because that chick sucks. There's all those. I'm like, can you have a worse voice that sounds creepier, and yet you're blasted on the Publix intercom thing? Who I want to get out of there. I don't want to shop here and share. I literally want to come home and stick my head in the toilet and flush, and I'll be happier because that my friends, that there's some satanic force that promotes people over others because share should not be promoted. Horrible. Oh, we have Lowe's and Home Depot down here. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Oh, you got them at the hardware store. Okay, I was looking at the supermarket. Okay, cool. Gotcha. Right on. Publix is our grocery store. It's like the high end grocery store. All right, you're freaking banned, Leisure 57 Blank. You're banned. Freaking ban this guy right now. I hope is it, dude. If you're a chick as one, if you're a dude, Leisure 57 Blank. Are you a chick or a dude? For the love of the good Lord, please tell me you're a chick. Please. If you're a dude, you're banned. You're gone, man. Oh, dude. I'm trying. My man Bruce. Are you a dude or a chick? That's what I'm asking you. Are you a dude or a chick? Because okay, good. You can stay. Phew. Oh, thank goodness. You can stay. If any dude says they love share, you're gone. So anyway, my man Bruce, by the way, just as an FYI, not allowed to ask that, Josh. You're probably right, Vaughn says you're not allowed to ask that. Oh man, you're right, Vaughn. Hold on a second. I wanted to my man. If I can get my channel here, hold on a second. So, Leisure 50s. I do not. You don't understand. Leisure 57 is called humor. It's okay. It's called being humorous. Are you a bot, Leisure 57? Trust me, are you a bot? Do you have a real name? You don't have to tell us your real name. Are you a bot? All right, so see, here's a real person, Leisure 57. Jennifer's not a bot. And Jennifer and Jill both said Cher was good when she was with Sonny, Sonny Bono. And they're, of course, wrong, but that's, they're ladies. Ladies' taste in music is, not, it's kind of odd. That's a fact. But that's okay. My wife has taste in music that makes me want to punish myself and just beat on my head with a freaking 2x4, or maybe a 2x6, maybe a 2x10 or a crowbar as I listen to that music when we're driving to Pensacola. I'm like, please just fall asleep. Please fall asleep. Please fall asleep so I can freaking turn on my own stuff. And then, oh boy. You like the songs from what movie? Oh boy, we've lost. Anyway, so I want to read you this thing from my man Bruce. This is if I can find it. Now, can I get my channel? Hold on a second. Do you believe in love after love? I can't find my freaking channel. Hold on a second. We're gonna get to it. All right, there we go. Community. So Bruce said, I'm probably not gonna. Right here. Was it in this one right here? No, I'm not going to find it. Dagnabbit. It was funny as heck. Yeah, I'm not going to find it. Shoot Magoots. Anyway, I forgot what it was. Bruce, if you're on, what was that comment? Because I said the best comment ever. Well, I can't find it. All right. So, Burlesque. I like the songs from that movie. Well, you're a bot, Leisure 57. Of course you like the songs from that movie because, bots are programmed to what to like and what not to like. Burlesque is the name of the movie. I don't know anything about it. Don't need to know. Don't want to know. That's okay. LD Murray says, so funny, Josh. Right on HIPAA. That's right. No. Celtic Spirit. Come on, man. It's all psyop, dude. 100%. They're trying to lure us right-wingers back to Twitter so they can program. Hey, we got on Rumble. Good morning, y'all. Says JK686B. What's up, JK? They're trying to lure us. Look, dude, they let Owen Benjamin back on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And Owen Benjamin was banned from Twitter 5 years. He was literally banned for 5 years. And now not only is he back on, but he's getting millions of views with his various conspiracy theory stuff, which is fantastic. It's great. And Elon is even like flirting with Owen. You can kind of tell that Elon Musk is a fan of Owen Benjamin, even though he can't say it outright. And it was just kind of funny. Why was Owen Benjamin let back on Twitter? I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? Seemed like they did not. They still, I can't remember. But anyway, they're just trying to lure you. I never got on Twitter. I'll never get on Twitter. I didn't know that Twitter had nothing, just tons of porn on there. I did not know that. I was like, crazy. So Owen Benjamin's like, wait, you're banning people off Twitter, like even Trump, but you're gonna have all this porn on there that anyone can just look at, regardless of age. By the way, you see that? Hey! Oh boy! Oh boy! Got a mailman. That's what Doggy, when I was living in Maine, used to do. Doggy was a little like a sheepdog kind of thing, a collie. And he would go nuts on we had this beautiful like wooden front door. That's why I think my mom bought this house, not for the house, but this front door. So we lived, when we were growing up in Maine, we lived in a summer home at first for like probably the first 5 or 6 years of our life. And summer homes in Maine they're not insulated. They're just not. I talk about my book, Return to Peaks Island, actually, right here, Return to Peaks Island. If you want to get it, it's not on Audible yet, but you're not really supposed to live in a summer home in Maine, because it gets cold in the winter. Who knew? Anyway, so I guess my grandpa got kind of scared for the kids because my mom was pregnant with my brother. If this is, I'm 5 years old with my brother, so my memory from that time obviously is pretty shot. But my understanding, at least the way I recall it, is that my mom was, we needed a better place to raise children because you can't live in a summer home in Maine in the wintertime. And I guess my grandpa had given my mom some money to buy this house, and back then the houses on Peaks Island were just cheap. Peaks Island back then was known as like the eclectic hippie, it used to call Welfare Island. This is Maine. I got my Portland shirt on, by the way. So Peaks Island was called Welfare Island back in the day because people like my mom, on AFDC, Aid to Families Dependent Children, AFDC, food stamps, right here. The brown money, they had the brown money, the orange money, the purple money, and the green money right there. I remember this well. Ironically, this is still worth more than this $1 trillion bill from Zimbabwe. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying. So when she bought this, so I guess she convinced my grandpa to give her like the $5,000 to buy this house. And the house in itself was run down, you know what I'm saying? But they had this big front door that's like an oval window, and the front door is made of thick wood. Anyway, so whenever I come home from school, Doggy would just like, it's crazy, man. The dog was going nuts, and he was a smaller dog, probably about, Finn right here is nothing but muscle. Ain't that right, Finn? Again, look at him. He's up. Hey, Finn, Finny. Hey, Finn. Oh, look at those muscles. And there's Pablo. Hi, Pablo. Oh, good boy. Anyway, so Finn is muscle. Doggy was just a lot of hair, and a collie with lots of hair. You know what I'm saying? But his voice, woo! He sounded vicious, that's for sure. All right, so what was I doing? Oh, so I want to show you guys this guy. Very interesting, this guy here, Alexander Del Mar. Check this out. Was an American political economist, historian, whatever that is. He was the first director of the Bureau of Statistics at the U.S. Treasury Department. He was a rigorous historian who made important contributions to the history of money. During the 1890s, he was distinctly hostile to a central monetary role for gold as a commodity money, championing the cause of silver and its remonetization as a prerogative of the state. He believed strongly in the legal function of money. He dedicated much of his free time to original research in the great libraries and coin collections of Europe and the history of monetary systems. Anyway, so we're going to read down here. He was a notorious free trader. Helped us. This guy freaking kicks ass. Love this guy. I'm going to show you something. He was appointed mining commissioner of the U.S. Monetary Commission in 1877. He has a book, History of Precious Metals, A History of Money in the Ancient States, Money and Civilization, The Science of Money, The History of Monetary Systems in Modern States. This guy just crushes. He was a New York State chairman of the Silver Party. That's cool. He spoke at the Chicago meeting in support of William Jennings Bryan. And off the top of my head, I can't remember that guy. But Del Mar's writings are the first known attempt to use free trade rhetoric as a solution to the Chinese question and to counter anti-Chinese attitudes that led to the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act. So this guy's just a freaking righteous dude. Love this guy. So we're going to look at his books here because he has this. This is the book I got. Anyway, this guy just kicks ass. And so he's writing a book. He's writing a book on basically the history of monetary stuff, just going back. And what he came across, I'm going to read you this. This is just a preface. Dude, this is the stuff no one ever teaches anything, because teaching isn't about learning, it's about regurgitating. That's why you got to listen to conspiracy theories. If you want to be in the know on the way the world works, don't listen. Whatever the media says, it's just propaganda. You got to listen to conspiracy theories. So you might say, I don't know about that. That's okay. It's interesting. I guarantee you can be more informed than any guy who just went to a physics course at Stanford. No, those guys don't know squat. You know what I'm saying? You got to read, and then you just learn from the people that came before. And you're like, why did Tesla never receive the notoriety? Obviously, this Elon Musk, we all know he was put there. He's not because he's a brilliant genius. He was put there. It's not even debatable. To me, it might be to you. It's not to me. So Elon Musk was put there to perpetuate some kind of positioning on an unsuspecting public. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I have a kind of a guide, but anyway, the point being is, why would the rise of Tesla coincide with Elon Musk? Like, what are they doing? I don't know the answer, but they're doing something with Tesla because Tesla was basically in the dustbin of history. But from modern, energy physicists and whatnot, no one looked at Tesla. They didn't look at Charles Steinmetz. You know what I'm saying? J.J. Thomson, these guys. No one knew who these people were. You know what I'm saying? It's just Einstein. It's crazy. Anyway, so why was Elon Musk put? And I don't know the answers to these things. I just find it incredibly interesting and to dive into because you're like, maybe there was unlimited free energy under Tesla's thing. There's a guy on YouTube who does, I can't remember his name anymore, but he does experiments with wireless energy just from base of the ether. It's fantastic. It's great. And people are like, no, we don't need to know. I'm like, why? Why would that? Why would you not be at least interested? So check this out. All right. It's perhaps unnecessary to state that the 2 months in the 2 new months in the Roman calendar were January and February, which are now intercalated between the previously last or 10th month. December in the previously first month, Primus, afterwards called March. All right. December is a word which relates to 10, yet December is now the 12th month. November, which relates to 9, which of course is now the 11th month. October, octopus, octagon, octopus. October relates to 8, which is now the 10th month. September, Sep, relates to 7, which is now the 9th month. The calend of March, calend be the month, that's what calendar, the month, calend of March, was called Meso from Mesotheus, a surname of Bacchus, and I'm sure I'm butchering that, Janus or Mercury, the god of the open door. In like manner, the calendar of August, 5 months later, was called Messa, a surname of Ceres, the goddess of harvest. Check this out. So distinctly this name, right here. So distinctively was this name of Messa attached to the middle day of the year that afterward it was also given the middle of anything for a mezzanine, all kinds of different, it's crazy. Mesa. The medieval monks, in order to dispose of this telltale word, said that the mess or mass came from missio, to dismiss, but this is simply false. Mess is a word of very high antiquity. It was used in India, Tibet, China, Egypt, Greece, Persia, and Rome. And all these countries, it meant Messiah. Mess is a word of very high antiquity. It meant Messiah, the mediator or the intercessor, the one who stood between the middle, the Messa, and God and man. Interesting. Until this accumulation of evidence is overthrown, it must be concluded that the year was anciently divided into 10 months. 10 months. How interesting is that? If the conclusions concerning a 10-month year fail to agree with the appearance of a 12-month year in the Hebrew scriptures, or with the opinions of those expositors who claim that the Hebrew scriptures a greater antiquity than the time of Solon, it is because such a claim lacks supportive evidence. There is nothing whatever but conjecture in favor of the greater antiquity of the existing version of the Old Testament. There is no extant manuscript of the Bible older than the Christian era, nor indeed is there one so old whilst the Bible itself does not pretend to be older than the period when Hilkiah, the priest, we're reading about this right now. You can read all this if you actually read your Bible. You can read about Hilkiah, the priest, found the book of the law and carried it to Shaphan, the scribe. That was about BC 454. That was under the Book of Kings, but it's also under Isaiah. I haven't read that. I'm ending up Ezekiel now. Isaiah, Ezekiel. It's crazy. The calendar has been a potent instrument in the hands of the impostors. The Egyptians realized this so keenly that they seized I don't even know what this word is, a propitious, I don't know what that word is. They seized a propitious interval in their long life of slavery to make their king swear never to alter the calendar. The classical Greeks carved their planispheres and calendars upon monuments of marble. But one only has to examine the ingenious alterations in the pieces of description now in the Museum of Louvre to be convinced how vain their precaution. The Romans of the Republic insisted upon a nail being driven each year into the facade of the Arium. The Quran forbids intercalation, i.e., don't change the calendar. All to no purpose. The calendars have been altered repeatedly, not only so as the days and months, but even the years. The most remarkable of these alterations was effected by Augustus Caesar. And it talks about Pope Gregory and stuff. So that doesn't get you fired up to read the next chapter. I don't know what does, man. It is fantastic. Love this guy. This guy kicks ass. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that. So like he talks about in here, in previous days, that living to 100 was no big deal. Now 100 years, if a 10-month calendar, 100, I mean, whatever that means. But we talk about Noah didn't live to 700. How old did Noah? When did Noah die? 700. How old was Noah when he died? 750 or something like that. No one's talked about that. No one lives that long. Maybe they did under a different calendar. I don't know. The whole point is because he says it here too, right here. It's crazy. I just want to read you this. Let's see. Right here. Even at this day, now that there are 12 months in the year, many persons live 100 years. That's like from freaking a long time ago. Isn't that crazy? Crazy. I just find it interesting. For example, we got these Martinmas, Candlemas, Whitsuntide, and Lammas. No one really knows the origins of those things. We can say, well, for St. Martin, and it goes before that. Man has practiced the arts of imposture from so remote an epoch. He has been so ingenious in perverting the truth that no safe reliance can be placed upon anything that he has directly affirmed or written with reference to antiquity. You hear that? Man has practiced the arts of imposture from so remote an epoch. He has been so ingenious in perverting the truth that no safe reliance can be placed upon anything that he has directly affirmed or written with reference to antiquity. Prominent in this range of knowledge was a cycle of the eclipses and the sinister use to which he put it. Anyway, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Man has been that's what Napoleon, I think, said. History is agreed upon lie, a lie agreed upon, or something like that. That's very interesting. Well, Josh, stick to financial planning. Oh, I'm not gonna. I do what I want to do. It's fun. You don't have to be here. All right, so that's Alexander Del Mar. That guy freaking crushes, man. Anyway, so a big fan of that guy. All right, so let's take a look. So now what we're gonna do, all right, is digital haze is digital haze. All right, let's make sure we're not dominating the chat here. Looks like okay. I just want to make sure we don't get a bot on here dominating the chat. You can type, you can chat. I just want to make sure. Okay, good. He's not. It doesn't look like he's. Yeah, all right, good. All right, good. All right. Right on, man. All right, good. It's okay, digital haze, to chat. I just want to make sure you weren't. We had a guy the other day who was dominating the chat towards the end of the live stream, and I could tell he was a bot, or he was right on, Quinn. Good. And I could tell that guy was just up to no good. So when people are dominating the chat without being, saying good stuff, and I don't mean good stuff, you like have to agree. I don't care about that. I just without being a dick, essentially. Gotta go. So that's good. No, that's right, man. It's okay. It's okay, Larry. Larry from PA. You can keep. No, I don't want to. I just saw you a number of comments, and it always says, "Is this guy a bot? Up to no good." You're good, brother. No problem at all. All right. So now let's go into the BLS stuff. Exactly. I know, man. How much can I earn? Well, let's ask who was that person before? Is she still here? Hey, that other person that we initially accused of being a bot, I'm still not, who likes share. Oh, Leisure 57. Let's ask Leisure 57 how much you can make right here. All right, Leisure 57. How much can we make being a bot? Tell us, man. Tell us. All right. It's like right here. It's like a job I semi-retired right off, man. All right. Good. I'm often called a Russian. Me too, Kirk. I'm called a Russian stooge, which is the funniest thing in the world because you saw all my anti-Stalin stuff, and I hate Stalin 100% back there. I mean, look, everyone else wants to talk about the Nazis. I always said the Nazis are small potatoes compared to the commies, dude. I mean, just look at Mao, look at Stalin, look at freaking what's his name, Khmer Rouge. Never mind the shining path. I mean, anywhere communism exists, dead people fall. There's all there is to it. And so like Nazis I don't like, and they're stupid, they're silly. You know what I'm saying? It's like freaking live action role playing compared to the freaking commies though. And the idea that I'm suddenly a Russian stooge, like, is the funniest thing. Ooh, speaking of which, why would is my man who's Liberty 1776? No, I don't see him on here yet. So Liberty 1776 is adamant that we landed on the moon. Adamant. He won't have it. He won't have it any other way. And he's a good guy. We disagree. And his whole premise is, wouldn't the Russians have said something? Wouldn't the Russians have said something? Well, guess what? The Russians are saying something. The old head of their Russian whatever the hell, the cosmonauts, I don't even know what they call it over there, their version of NASA, is saying something. He's saying, I don't have any evidence the Americans landed on the moon. This isn't some freaking crazy, Ukrainian or not Ukrainian, some kind of conspiracy theory. This is the head of Russian cosmonauts. No more. He said, I asked for evidence when I became head. And the only evidence I got was some book by a Russian cosmonaut who had talked to Neil Armstrong and the boys. That's it. He goes, I want more than that. I need more than that. And then he started getting sniped at by the Russians in that field because they say you're going to jeopardize international relations. He goes, dude, I just want the truth, man. I'm looking for the truth. And anyway, long story short, he goes, I came to realize Washington has its tentacles knee deep in Russia and Moscow more than I ever recognized. And you think about what happened to Yeltsin. A lot of Americans got rich off raping that poor country, dude. 100. That's a fact. That's a fact. A lot of Americans got rich raping that country. That's why they turned to Putin. And it's, look, I don't like Putin any more than you do. But as somebody, I'm sympathetic because you're like, wait a second, dude. Yeltsin sold their souls for rock and roll, and he just won vodka. And everybody else got rich, and they all took the wealth out of America. It's like what we did. It was like what the Clintons did in Haiti, with Mark Warner and these guys. They raped Haiti. Same thing. They went in, we came, we saw, we got rich. And that's what Hillary said about Libya. We came, we saw, we got rich, and we let those poor people fend for themselves. Nothing but scumbags, dude. It's without question. And so Yeltsin, I was huge. I was a huge Yeltsin fan. I remember like it was yesterday. I said, Putin is a freaking KGB commie and all that. Look, I got no empathy towards Putin whatsoever. But the facts are now that the curtain is being lifted on what is the globalist. It's not just it's a globalist takeover of all these countries, and we're seeing it being called out right in front of our very eyes. Truth is slowly starting to trickle out. And it's very, very interesting too. And people aren't going to want to hear the truth. There's more to come, dudes. I'm telling you right now. You just wait. There's just more to come as you see the split. What they used to call spheres of influence. It used to be spheres of influence. You know what I'm saying? So the Russians were those guys in the East. With the good guys, the Americans were those on the West. You know what I'm saying? Spheres of influence. And we use our influence through by military power and buying people off to put them under our sphere of influence. Well, we're going back to that. And now you got China and Russia. Now remember, China and Russia. So everyone forgets, how did Mao come to prominence? It wasn't because the Chinese people support him. He had money from the freaking Russians, the commies in Russia. And then they came to loggerhead when he took over. But Mao was supported by the Russians, dude. You see what I'm saying? I mean, he had no prestige, no power, but he got the money that the other, the nationalists, basically they wanted to overthrow the nationalists. Is exactly what happened. Anyway, so Mao is a commie, and the Russians were a commie, but because Mao betrayed Russia, they were at loggerheads. Seems like those days might be coming to an end, and I don't know if they're explicitly commie with world domination on their hands, but I certainly know they want to get out from the American umbrella. And Americans got a lot of influence, maybe not so much in Beijing, but certainly still in Moscow, because they sold their soul under Yeltsin to us. So now you got the Russian cosmonaut, the head guy, saying, "I don't have any proof at all. We went to the moon." None of the United States did. None. He goes, one of my biggest things too is I saw the Russian cosmonauts after they just go on they freaking do an orbit supposedly, and they were just exhausted, like they were almost deathly. He goes, I saw Neil and the boys come out and they're freaking fine. He goes, that was weird to me, but I never questioned it because I always thought it had to be true. Why would they lie? Very interesting. And we'll see what happened. What else comes to light here with the again the splitting now of this unilateral one world government. And I'm not even sure that the Russians in of itself, that Putin isn't part of it. I don't know. I have no clue. And I don't really care to think all that much about it, frankly. I mean, Putin he was a young global leader with the World Economic Forum. You know what I'm saying? I mean, could you change? Sure, absolutely. I'm not so sure this isn't one part of one big thing from the globalists. I don't know. But it's very, very interesting to witness what is going on with a split now. And I'm not worried about nuclear war in the least, and you shouldn't be either. Stupid. Not worried about it at all, man. We're all going to die, and I'm not worried in the least. I am worried about scarcity. I am worried about going back to 1970 style where you couldn't just go to Publix and buy up all your food, for $6 off of New York Strip. You know what I'm saying? I mean, meat was very, very scarce, at least for poor people. And that's all I remember. My history is being poor. We didn't have barbecue. We didn't have grill. We didn't have hamburger, hardly at all. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have any money. So we were living off whatever we had liver and we had tofu. My mom, I remember tofu. We had liver all the time. She made homemade spaghetti, which is freaking awesome. I can't really remember what else. I just remember hot dog soup, liver all the time. I don't remember barbecue. We certainly didn't have a gas grill. We might have had a charcoal grill we probably used once or twice a year because we didn't have any meat. You know what I'm saying? And we had a garden and we had chickens when I was real young. But other than that, we certainly didn't have the luxury. We didn't have ice cream every day. It was crazy, crazy. And, I think those days are going to come back. Absolutely. So, all right, let's dive into CPS numbers, CPI numbers. This will be fun. I haven't looked at it yet. Haven't looked at anyone said anything about it. So we're going to look at it ourselves. We're going to go to BLS.gov. All right. So CPI, actually, this is what concerned me more than anything. This is from the other day, but productivity decreases 2.7% in Q1. Productivity decreases, and yet unit labor costs increase by 6.3%. That's bad. That's certainly not good for economic growth, and certainly not good for your stock performance for sure. What are the markets doing? I have no clue. What do you guys? What we got in the? Well, of course they're worth something because people still believe it, Pam. All these things will be worth something. It's kind of like worth like the moon rocks that was Neil gave to the guy from the Danish, the moon rock. It's so freaking stupid, man. The more you dive into this, the more you're like, I can't believe I fell for this. Look, I believe that because I tend to, I don't lie, so I tend to believe that other people aren't going to lie to me, and I think most people are like that. We think, yeah, why would they? I'm not going to lie. Turns out the moon rocks we gave to the prime minister of Netherlands or something like that was just petrified wood. I can't remember if it was Neil or Buzz. It wasn't Michael Collins, but I can't remember which of the boys gave the moon rock to the guy from Dane. I can't remember what country. It's just petrified wood. And no one found it interesting that Werner von Braun was on the North Pole right at the same time. At the same time, the Apollo 11. Oh my goodness, the whole thing's so funny. All right, but anyway, so right here, productivity decreases 2.7% in Q1, while labor unit costs rise. Remember, earnings growth, earnings growth, earnings growth. What is the biggest issue when it comes to earnings growth? Well, the biggest issue is labor cost. Labor cost is huge, and if we have high labor costs, that's going to have. I don't have anyone on Rumble. One person, it might be me. That's it. So I think I don't believe Rumble, dude. I'm not buying Rumble as the salvation. I don't think Rumble's gonna be around that long. To be honest with you, because where's their money coming from? I don't know. So I got paid just as just side note here. Well, side note, sorry, but I just got to share with you guys something. My theory on Rumble. So when I first went on Rumble, my first month I made $30. I was like, sweet. I'm wondering if I can make money on Rumble like I can on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And then I haven't made $30 since then. It was like 3 years ago or 2 years ago or something, probably 2 years ago now. I probably made $30 in the 1 year and 11 month time since the $30 I made initially on Rumble. You know what I'm saying? So there's no money to be made there. So what they're doing is they're paying these guys like Steven Crowder and I guess not Tucker now, but who's the other guy? What's that guy's name? The English comedian who's a big lib, and now he's not. I can't remember. But these guys are paying these guys. They're paying a bank to go on Rumble. Where's that money come from? It's come from investors. Well, what do investors want? They want to have a return on investment. How do you get a return on investment? Well, you got to sell ads, right? But how many advertisers are going to want to be on Rumble if a large minority of Rumble, if not a majority, is dedicated to conspiracy theorists or the anti-wokeness and things? You see what I'm saying? I just don't see where the revenue is going to come from. So one of the things that always bothered me about Rumble is that their live stream numbers look way, way wrong. They don't look right. And I'm telling you right now. So I follow people on Rumble. Like, wait, you're telling me you have 14,000 views on a live stream on Rumble, but your regular videos only have a couple hundred? I don't buy that for 2 seconds, dude. No way, no how. And what happens is you have to pay to live stream on Rumble. So I paid $25 a month to live stream on Rumble. And so I think what they do is they say, look, you're reaching an audience, but the reason you reach an audience, you got to monetize that somehow by selling products, by getting paid to do this stuff. I mean, you can do it for free if it's just a labor of love, and I love it, dude. But if I wasn't getting paid on YouTube, I wouldn't be doing as much as I am. I'll tell you that right now. YouTube pays my mortgage. Rumble does not, doesn't come close. And as such, you're challenged to make a living on Rumble because it's not there. There's no money to be made unless you sell some kind of sponsorship or something like that. And I just don't want to really. I mean, I might sell a sponsorship, but I had who was it? I forgot what it was. They reached out to me, and I always just delete their sponsorship request. But this one is interesting because this is a product I use. I forgot what the name of it was anymore. And I said, I'll be interested in that. What do you got? And they said, give us your spec sheet on your price. And I said, dude, I'm a guy in my freaking t-shirt, my dogs, man. Half the time my t-shirt's on it inside out. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. So they never got, is some kind of channel that I subscribe to that I paid money for to watch documentaries. I forgot what it's called. And I said, I'd be interested. If they want to advertise my channel, I'll take them up on that. But I like Patriot Food Supply. Get out of here. It's all clown show. I get golden. We want to advertise our golden. Get out of here. I don't want any of that crap. But if it's something I use, if they freaking want to advertise, freaking prime ribeye, I get if Publix wants to advertise on my channel saying we got $6 per pound off on our New York strip, hell yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that sponsorship any day of the week. But anyway, so Rumble is. I'm not sure how long the right side of the things will be allowed on Rumble because they got to monetize that somehow. And how are they going to monetize it? I don't know the answer to that. I just don't know. And I watch Rumble. I watch Dr. Tom Cowan. Love Tom Cowan. I watch Steve Deace on Rumble. Love Steve Deace. I watch Owen Benjamin on Rumble. I actually subscribe to Owen Benjamin's unauthorized.tv. But, I watch people on Rumble. I watch Dr. Sam Bailey on Rumble. All the people that got banned off YouTube are on Rumble. But how do you monetize that? It's very, very interesting. Yikes. It's Celtic spirit digging holes. That's not. Yeah. Denise, how freaking double dog dare you? You're retired. You know, Denise, that I go live Wednesdays at noon and Mondays at 8 p.m. and sometimes Saturdays. Oh, by the way, next Tuesday, we're going to have my man Craig Israelson back on on the live stream at 8 p.m. next Tuesday, 8 p.m. with Craig Israelson. How to make your money last 25 years in retirement, I think is what the video is going to be. How to make your money last. And Craig Israelson crushes, loves that guy. He's got, slide deck that is going to be great. So what we're going to do with Craig, speaking of monetizing, and I'll get back to it's already 40 minutes in. You haven't talked about CPI. I know. I'm sorry. What we're going to do with Craig is Craig is, PhD, economics professor, investment guy. He's got a lot of research on investing. Now, I don't agree with it all. When I say I don't agree with it at all, that doesn't mean I don't agree with it at all. It means I don't agree with it all in terms of the way he sees the world and I. That's okay. It's a different perspective. So what we're going to do with Craig is probably once a month, we're going to take a paid only live in chat with Craig. You know what I'm saying? Because Craig is, he's got 7 kids. I think he's like 15 years older than me, something like that. So he's a little bit more of a gray beard than me, and he's dedicated his whole career to investing research, and he's going to have lots of you can. So the stuff he sells on his website that you can his research, and not very expensive. It's kind of like my man Dan Kuhlberg, $25 here, $25 there. It's not very expensive. It's wonderful research, but he's going to go over in our paid only YouTube chats and Rumble too. Probably charge like $25 or something like that. Now $20, we'll figure it out, but it'll be something like that. So this will be an introduction to some of what his research is. I think I'm very much looking forward to it. It goes back, and he's just got this whole deck of stuff that we're not going to be able to get into in every single video, but like once a month there'll probably be like a Doc and Josh and the Doc. That's what we decided to call it. Josh and the Doc, just talking solely about investments. Won't be any of this crap we're talking about here. My conspiracy theorists, we won't be looking at the dogs. We won't be talking about growing up on Peaks Island. It'll just be solely investments. But you're going to pick the brain of old Craig. And I've got some stuff to say, too. I'm not a rookie at this either, man. I'm not quite the gray beard that old Craig is. But I've been around the corner a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? My knees are scraped and my elbows are scraped up pretty significantly. I've been punched in the face more than I can admit to. And so I think there'll be some good feedback on that with Craig. And if you want, and we haven't said exactly what's going to happen yet, but we're talking about it. But I think it'll be a lot of fun, man. And Josh sidetracked Scanlon. Well, you spelled my last name there wrong, Ed. Rumble is growing, plus True Social is trying to. Yeah, but all these guys got to get paid somehow. Josh avoiding the subject of the video is not surprising. Yep, 100%, absolutely. I think you should go up and visit Fritz. That's a good idea, Quinn. Yeah, man, Fritz and I were emailing each other a while back, texting each other. It's I need to do that. Fritz is a good guy. That's a good guy. Anyway, long story short, so that'll be fun. Anyway, we don't have to have that many people in, but this will be solely for investment only. And if you want questions about a well-regarded PhD investment, this guy, Craig, has written for Financial Planning Magazine, Horse's Mouth, all the stuff that I've been researching for years. Craig has actually been writing in there, advisor perspectives. This is some come-by-night guy, whatever that is. This is a guy who's been around. So if you want to pay a little bit of money, not going to be much, to have insight to Craig's thinking on investors and ask questions, man, this would be great. So we'll see. If we get 10 people, that's $150, $75 each for old Craig and me, and that might be worth your friggin', if we charge $15 or something like that, it might be worth your time and energy. It might not be. Then you'll have to pay for it again. It'll just be every other month or every month. All right, here it is. You want to jump on board? $15. And again, I haven't priced it yet. Be interesting. I'm out then if no sideshows. Yeah, right on. Well, that's where you come back to these live streams, Joe, for the sideshows, because this is where it's fun. The sideshows where it gets exciting. The other stuff's just boring. Frankly, for me, talking about investments, but people love it, man. People love it. They love talking about investments. I don't get it, but they love talking about that and Social Security taking at 62. It's crazy. But that's okay. Keeps me employed. I frankly bores me to death because I think at the end of the day, you just buy the index, have some cash, and be done. But all right. So let's talk about CPI, shall we? We're only 44 minutes in. All right, so we're going to click on this. CPI for all items rise 0.4%. So let's see can we read this? And then, you can hear me sing and share. To believe in life after love. All right, CPI, the CPIU. All right, so we're quiz time. what is CPIU? Why we use CPIU over the other CPIs, which is CPIW and CPIE. All right, you want to know why we use CPIU? And if you had bought my book, and if you haven't bought it, you're in the wrong, which I don't have right here. If you bought my book, which I don't have, you would know that CPIU covers the widest berth of America, about 90%. And they started that in 1978, if memory serves. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like 1978, 1982 officially, but they're working on from 1978. And so a CPIW before that, which only covered about 25% of the population. So CPIU is all encompassing. CPIE is for the elderly, which focuses on elderly people over 65. Just as hey, look at LD Murray, bought my book. Right on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right on. And I, by the way, I did sell some of my money market. I am going to go. I think I could buy $15,000 of VTI after this. As a matter, I have no idea what the market is doing, but I've been. So I sold in January, and so I avoided the bulk. I still had a bunch of stocks. Don't get me wrong, but the bulk of I sold everything I had was in Wellington. And I sold it in January when I saw that they'd gone woke. I said, I can't have this. You know what I'm saying? And so I was looking at places to be a little bit more conscious with my money, the opposite of ESG or DEI. But I'm just going to buy the index and be done with it, man. And so anyway, long story short, so I've been sitting in cash, for a sizable amount of my portfolio for a while. I did miss the February decline, but I also missed the growth as well from February to now. And so I'm back. I mean, the markets are basically back when I sold, and so I haven't missed anything. I haven't gained anything. Just sitting. Well, I've gained, my money market account. So I'm going to dollar cost average back into VTI. So a lot of people ask, like, "Hey, I'm out of the market. What should I do?" Man, just dollar cost averaging. Is there any rhyme or reason for this? No. But if you dollar cost average and you put some in, you're not just betting on red. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just, probably the next 6 months or so, I'll dollar cost average the bulk of my portfolio. I still got 6% Federal Home Loan Bank bond paying 6% right now. That is callable bond, so it could be called in June. We'll see. I'm not quite expecting it to be called. But I have, before I had all my money in Wellington Fund and a bunch of individual stocks. I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to have some cash on the side. Probably 20% of my portfolio being cash, because now you get rewarded to sit in cash. So I'll probably have, probably 75, 25, something like that, 25% cash and the rest in stocks without question. And individual stocks and VTI, the total stock index. That's what I'm going to do. Now, my cash, I don't have an emergency fund. All right. So when you got hit with the taxes I got hit with, I took all my emergency fund and some. So like I said last stream, I'm still digging out from that debt of having to pay the tax man, which sucks, but it is what it is, man. I mean, you got to pay the bills, and I'm hoping by the end of this year, I'll be square with that. All my debts will be paid. Everything will be paid except for this house right here. That's my hope. And then I'll start scoring away some more cash in a true emergency fund. I've always lived the idea that my mantra has always been that my Roth is my emergency fund. My contribute, because I've always thought, and I still think is valid today, is your contributions to your Roth are yours for the taking. And you can basically, unlike the TSP or something like that, you can prorate from where you want your money to come from. Or you can identify, where you want your money to come from. And so my Roth has always been my emergency fund, and I still will live by that. And so I don't plan on having too much outside. I mean, basically my Roth scratch my brokerage account, if that makes sense. So I'm I use M1 Finance, and I'll probably just bring that to Schwab at some point. But I funnel money every month into VTI every month. That's my emergency fund. And I don't have, but I still think cash in my Roth account is worth it, because I do think there could be opportunity, where things go south, I need a chance to buy some cheap shares, or B, that I might not have a job, I need some cash, and I want to make sure I have some cash to pay the bills before if the things go south. So for me, that's my kind of mechanism here. I've always used a Roth as I've never had much cash on the side. And last year was the first time I had any cash on the side. Like, I had pretty significant cash. I've never had that before. It felt great. Felt freaking great. But tax man. And I did not have enough estimated taxes to pay. I did not. And the reason I didn't, because I did Roth conversions the year before, and I've forgotten about that in my estimated tax. So it hit me pretty good. It hit me with my best shot. Yeah, if I'm near retirement, now if I'm near retirement, Ed, I'm not even going 60-40. I'm going 40-60. 100%, man. How long do I? Yeah, there's no. It's just kind of what I feel. Like I don't. I mean, ultimately, by the end of this year, I'd like to be fully invested back in the markets. When I say fully invested, again, well, just for simplicity, that's 80% to 20. Right now, I'm probably 20-80, if that makes sense. And I consider that part of that 80 my 6% bond. But at the end of the day, I think the bond market has upside opportunity over the next year that the stock market does not. Absolutely. And so that's why I'm keeping, and I still have my EDV. I'm adding to that as well. EDV is my Vanguard long-term extended duration bond fund, which I'm adding to it. That's my speculative thing that the bond's going to take off. Because if you just look at history, anytime the bonds get killed, they come back roaring the next year. If not the next year, certainly the year after. I just don't know that's going to happen again. I think it will. I don't know if it's quite as obvious as this is going to happen again, though. And this is why I just go back to the yield curve. The yield curve is so. I know. I don't know, Ed. Do I see a crash coming? Then I don't know. I don't know. So let me just revisit this real quick. It doesn't make sense. I cannot stress this enough. It doesn't make sense that the yield curve, again, it's been like this. We're 5 up here and 3.5 down here. This is long-term money. This is short-term money. It's been like this for going on 6 months now. Something has got to give. Something has got to give. I don't know what. I can make an argument for both. That's why I bought some long-term duration bonds, because if my argument for both is that this is going to come down, the short-term stuff, inherently it makes the long-term stuff more valuable. And more valuable means there's going to be more demand for the bonds, which makes the price go up. You see what I'm saying? Now I can even make a case that if this goes down, this might go down as well. I just don't know if I believe that. I don't know. Because it's already pretty low. 3.5 on a 10-year treasury, 3.6 on a 30-year treasury is freaking low, dudes. Could it go down lower? Yes, it could. But I'm actually betting on that this tanks, i.e., and the markets fall at the same point, and that would make these bonds look very, very valuable. Flight to quality. Anytime there's a pending doom in the market, there's always a flight to quality. The irony of all that didn't happen last year. And the reason it didn't happen last year is because the Fed was so heavily raising rates that the flight to quality that typically happens, i.e., people buying government bonds. No, Alexander, you can't. Sorry, buddy. You're going to have to keep working. Sorry, man. When I use these whiteboards all the time. Almost every video I do, I use this whiteboard. Yeah, sorry, Alexander. I'll see you at the job site. See you, man. How do we know what? Oh, yeah, sorry. Anyway, the point being is, when something is this out of whack, something's got to give, and either the long-term rates spike up. And what would cause long-term rates spike up? It doesn't make sense. Why would long-term rates spike up? The only thing I could possibly think is that the government is so heavy. If I have this. The government is so heavy as a purchaser of government bonds, more so than anyone anticipated. And when they stop purchasing the bonds, the prices of the bonds drop because the demand for the bonds drops, and then the yields go up. And that does kind of concern me. I'm going to share with you this right here. This is Japanese stocks and the BoJ, a study in distortion. This is from 2016. I want to share this on here. In an equity market where the central bank is the biggest whale and where the government in various forms has become the biggest shareholder in 25% of Tokyo stocks. Huh? So I was wondering, what made Japan? I don't have it up here. Man. What made Japan? The stock market was dead to rights from 1990 to 2012. From 2012, it come back. It's not anywhere near the high in the Nikkei, from the 90s, but still, and the reason is because the government was buying up the freaking stocks. The government is the biggest shareholder in 25%. This is in 2016. I bet it hasn't changed much. I don't know that'd be true. I bet. The BoJ's ETF program, which strikes many investors as a signal of the deepening desperation, is designed to boost stocks, stimulate growth, and encourage individuals to invest in their own. Because the individuals saying, if the BoJ is going to buy up these stocks and make the stocks go higher, I'll buy up. That's a Ponzi scheme. As a consequence, companies with a high share price and thus high Nikkei 225 weightings are receiving more inflow than might be justified by their size. So it's not based on fundamentals. It's based on just market cap, essentially. Fast retailing, for instance, again, this is 2016. Fast retailing is weighted at 8%, more than 8% of the Nikkei, based on its having the second highest share price in Japan. So look at this. Again, 2016, that stocks the highest ownership of the Bank of Japan. 12%. I don't know if you can see that. Estimated Bank of Japan by 2017, what does that say? 19%, 20%, 17%, 16%. I mean, when the government is buying, well, they're independent. No, the banks, the freaking Federal Reserve is not independent. Come on. When they're buying up the stocks, the government is. That's absolute distortion. That's not based on PE ratios, not based on anything other than this is what we'd call, we're going to scratch the back of our betters, essentially. We're going to make the people who make us whole, the big boys. And of course, it's totally distorted because now the little boys who doesn't have the prowess in terms of lobbying capability of the big boys, they don't get, they get freaking nothing. And it just creates this more of an inequity and inequality, if you will, in the markets. And that's not good. It's based on politics, not based on how a company is run. And that actually props up zombie corporations, things like that. So anyway, so we go back to government. So when with the bonds, so again, going back to the inverted yield curve at, again, 5, whatever the Fed funds rate is, 3.5. This can't sustain itself. This has to go. So either it's going to go with this goes up and this goes down, a combination thereof, but something's got to give. What would make this go up? This is long-term debt. A mass sale of government bonds, without question, a massive sale of government bonds. All right, well, who would do that? Our own government. Okay. What would cause them not to do that? Because debt financing is if the federal government has to pay historical 10-year rates on their bond, on their interest, on their debt, that's going to break the bank. We don't have enough money to pay that interest. You know what I'm saying? We don't have enough money as it is now, but we don't have enough money to pay the interest. Government has every incentive to keep the rates low, 100%. We can't afford a historical interest rate on our debts. We can't. That'd be the biggest line item, I think, even above Social Security. It's crazy. All right, so what's the likelihood of those interest rates going up? I just don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, anything could happen. But I'm like, well, that's not likely, which makes me more prone to buy long duration bonds because the longer the duration and the lower the coupon, the more volatility the bond will be. So in this case, long duration bonds with low coupons, which the coupons are very, very low now, is again a huge hit. But we already took that hit. The last 18 months, about 18 months, long duration bonds are down 50%. 50%, not 15, 50. Never happened before, and I don't expect it to happen again. So I don't think this side is going to go up. What is the impetus for that to happen? I mean, China can sell all their bonds all day long. They don't own that many relative to what U.S. does. It doesn't matter. So the only thing that can happen is that the Federal Reserve says we're going to freaking sell a massive amount of bonds that we have. But then you got to look who's the buyers of them anyway. Are they going to telegraph? I mean, people aren't stupid. Someone's still got to buy them. Who's going to buy them? Especially if they say, well, you're going to sell them today and you're going to sell them tomorrow and you're going to sell them tomorrow. So I buy today, I'm going to get smoked on the share price. Because what happens when you sell a bunch of stuff? The price goes down. Yields go up, price goes down. So who's going to be on the other side of that trade? I don't know. In fact, what the Federal Reserve is doing now is they're buying bonds back. They're buying them back. I guess take them out of circulation. So anyway, again, look, dude, I'm just a guy in my t-shirt. Half the time it's inside out. But this doesn't seem likely for that to happen. So then at some point, this would have to drop. And what would cause that to drop? Well, a massive stock market crash, a massive economic crash. And that is more likely to happen. But the numbers aren't that bad right now. I'm just telling you right now. Yeah, I mean, there's some bad stuff out there, but no one can sit here today and say the economic outlook on America is, even with Sniffy Joe in office, is we're not sitting necessarily that we can foretell. I mean, no one knows, but we're not sitting at a doomsday scenario right now. I mean, it could be, and we'll look back and say, "Oh man, how did you not know that?" But I mean, so you can't sit there and say, "Well, because the economic is in dire straits, this is going to have to come down." The evidence of that is not very good. You see what I'm saying? So what is going to give? A combination of this dropping and this going up? Yeah, I don't know. So a massive market crash, could that? Well, we had one of bonds just last year. The worst market of bonds ever in the histoire of mankind happened just last year, and we lived to tell the story. People weren't jumping out the window. The stocks themselves were down in bear market territory. I think the Nasdaq is now. Oh, I got my phone right here. I think Nasdaq is now back in the bull market, if memory serves. Yeah. Look at your boy Brian Kemp sitting with John Boehner. Yeah, what are these freaking clowns up to? They're up to no good at Sea Island, Georgia, trying to do the globalist bidding. Yeah, so Nasdaq's up a half. The S&P 500 is down 60 basis points today. 10-year Treasury is down. The price of the 10-year Treasury is up, so the yield is down 2%. Again, below 3.5. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't know, but this ain't gonna happen for long, and something's gonna give. My inclination would be that the likelihood more of a massive stock market decline, because last year it could be the reverse of a dead cat bounce. So a dead cat bounce is, let me just show you what that is. So the market goes way up, all right, and we get irrational exuberance, and then the market falls. So we're now like here, and then the market gives us a fake. It goes up a little bit, and that would be called a dead cat bounce right here. That little jump from the market. I do worry that we're in that right now, frankly. That's my concern about buying VTI. And even if I'm dollar cost averaging, I wonder if this is a dead cat bounce. I don't know. No one knows. And then from there, it goes back down. And then it goes back down even worse. You see what I'm saying? So market goes up, irrational exuberance. Market falls for whatever reason. Generally, market falls because interest rates hikes, which is exactly what happened last year. Market gets a dead cat bounce. And then people will wake up and they say, wait a second, this market's still too pricey because the economic conditions are bad. And they start selling. We get another decline, another bear market. I would expect that to happen, but I don't know when, where, how. And I can't stand Sniffy Joe. But the economic numbers are just not that bad to warrant saying the market's doomed. I don't care what Peter Schiff says or freaking Robert Kiyosaki, that guy. I don't care. I mean, they're still making money in corporate America. There is money to be made. Again, the issue is earnings growth, given that labor costs are going up and given that productivity is going down, is a concern. That's just a fact. Now, that's, is that a one-time thing? I don't know. If that's perpetual, then we're in a world of hurt. If we get a couple quarters of productivity shrinking and labor growth, the cost of labor going up significantly, that's bad for stocks. That's good for middle class Joe. I love it. Not productivity shrinking, but labor costs going up. I got no qualm with that. But for your stock market perspective, that's not good because earnings are driven by cost of labor, cost of goods sold, man. You sell a product for $1, it costs you 80 cents to produce that product. Your cost of goods sold is 80% of your sales price. All right. So now 80% of how much of that 80% goes to labor? About 70% of that 80% goes to labor. All right. On top of that, the productivity of labor is declining and the cost of labor is going up, which start to squeeze your margins. You see what I'm saying? So now you're like, oosh. So now your margins are being squeezed. And what do? Would you grow? It's going to be tough to grow unless you take on a lot of debt. You're trying not to take on debt because what happened in 2008, what happened last year, like I'm going to try to avoid debt, but I still need to move widgets. What do? You maybe price your widgets a little bit lower to move them because less and less people can afford them and whatnot. So you say, okay, I'm going to price them lower. You can price them higher to keep up with wage growth. People are going to be they'll be priced out of the market. So you price them lower to sell them because you got all this inventory. Like, man, I got to sell this stuff. I got all this inventory. People say, all right, I'll buy that widget, 95 cents where you used to selling it $1. But it used to be $1 of a price of a widget, and I had 80 cents in cost of goods sold. Now I'm selling for 95 cents and I have 90 cents cost of goods sold. You see what I'm saying? A big change, isn't it? It's a big difference. So now your earnings growth has been reduced significantly. That's just on those two things alone. Remember, another thing cost of goods sold is energy. Actually, that's one thing I do want to look at on the CPI. That is what will always destroy things. I wish people would recognize that debt is the destroyer of all good things. All right, so what we're going to do here, all right, so we got it. Oh yes, oh man, I love this stuff. All right, unadjusted 12 months. Okay, so right here, all items for the last. So this is where it gets fun. All items, we're going to say 5% as our consumer price index increase. 5%. All right. Of that, what? Oh, look at that. Just like your buddy Josh has always said. Remember, I haven't looked at this before. Is everybody seeing that? Oh, it's the government printing money that's inflationary. No, it's freaking energy. It might have been in the past. It's not now because we rely so heavily on energy. Look at that. Gasoline energy is down 5.1%, amigos. Is it any shock that inflation is now starting to recede a little bit? We're still, still inflationary. Why do people not get this? If you pay more for energy, you're going to have higher inflation. There's no two ways around it. It's just that simple. You pay for less for energy, you're going to have less inflation. Shocking. It's energy, man. That's all there is to it. So you have a decline of energy over a year of let's see, overall energy, 5.1%. Food at home is up 7.7. No, that's overall food right there, 7.7. All right, so the price of food, now if you just look back, maybe it has something to do with, I'm just wondering, increasing fertilizer costs. I'm just throwing it out there. Freaking idiots, freaking Ukraine war. We're gonna increase in fertilizer costs, and then UK, we're gonna ban fertilizer so people can't grow food as much. Oh, on top of that, we're gonna steal the Dutch farmers' lands, and we're gonna tell them that they can never be a farmer again. Shocking. Freaking scumbags. Let's take a look at shelter. Shelter, 8.1%. Oh, I wonder if someone should do a book. I don't have my book here. Someone should do a book. Shelter's up 8.1. What's your shelter up? Is Jill, you out there? What's your shelter up? Is it up 8.1%? Up 8.1. Celtic Spirit, is your shelter up 8.1? Denise, you're out there. Is your shelter cost up 8.1%? Pablo, would you stop that? Transportation services. That does not include gasoline because gasoline is its own thing right here. Transportation services up 11%. Your transportation services up 11%? Anybody? Anybody's transportation services up 11%? You know what transportation? I wish I had my book here, but I don't. What consists of transportation? The buying of a new or used lease, buying or leasing of a new or used vehicle. Have you bought a new or used vehicle anytime soon? No. Yeah. So why would transportation affect my CPI? It doesn't. It's stupid. Dumb. Shelter costs are not up 8.1%. Some people say, hey, look at Julia on Facebook, right on. I have 2 years left on my mortgage. Hey, interesting. Right. And guess what utilities? Guess what utilities are falling in under? Want to take a guess? This right here, energy, right there. That's utilities. So anyway, the point being is your mortgage hasn't increased at all. Your shelter costs haven't grown. Maybe your real estate taxes have gone up. We had a couple guys say, oh my goodness, my real estate taxes are up. What do you say, like 25%? He lives in Austin, Texas, or something like that. And I said, okay, how much are your real estate taxes? Texas is expensive. No idea. Well, it went from 8,000 to, we'll just say for simplicity, over the last 2 years, went from 8,000 to 10,000 a year. I literally just make these numbers up. How much you spend? I spend, I guess 200,000 a year. All right, so if you spend 200,000 a year and your taxes went up by $2,000, has your CPI gone up by whatever that is, 11%? Whatever it is? No, it's gone up $2,000 on $200,000 consumption. I'm literally just making this up. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to give an example of that. Now, if you're spending $50,000 a year, and your taxes went up by from $8,000 to $10,000, that's a whole different ballgame now, isn't it? So, I mean, let me just again play this out. I'm just going to draw this out for you. If I'm spending $50,000 a year, all right, and this is all my book. Buy my book. If you haven't, you're a sucker, because my book writes about this. If I'm spending $50,000 a year, and $8,000 is on property tax, all right, property tax, and that would be that's not considered part of your. I mean, in reality, it's part of shelter. We know that, but in CPI, shelters consists of owner equivalent rent, and the cost actual rentals and owner equivalent rent. Stupid, but be it as it may. So in reality, that's all that matters. Our reality is not the CPI. Our reality matters. So if I'm spending $50,000 a year and $8,000 of that $50,000 goes to property tax, that means 16% of my spending is geared towards property tax. Everybody with me? So now property tax goes to $10,000 a year, right? Now property tax is 20% of my spending. Does that make sense? So my inflation in that case went up 2 divided by 50. Went up 4% in that regard. On that side of CPI, my inflation went up by 4%. Because all that matters is what I'm spending. That's if you actually look how the CPI calculates the data, they're saying, what do you spend your most on? That's how much they weight inflation. So in that case, while it looks like your inflation went up 20%, your actual inflation went up by 4% relative to your cost, your spending, if that makes sense. Now, that's not cheap. I'm not lying to you. That sucks. Is that likely to keep happening each and every year? And the answer is no, of course not. Of course not. They're not going to be able to get you another 12%, another $2,000 a year from your property tax. So this guy emailed me. Actually kind of ticked me off a little bit. He bought his house for $350,000 in Austin, or something like that. No, like 5 years ago. Now it's worth $1 million, and his property tax reflect that. All right, and as well they should. I mean, that's what property tax are, reflective of your appraised value, and they use all kinds of different mechanisms to tax you on this. I get it. But anyway, so he's griping that his property tax went up from whatever, similar example of that. I can't remember. I'm like, dude, you just made $650,000 in equity. Are we really? I mean, let's take a W when we can get them, man. Let's not be afraid to take a win when we can find them. Because I'm like, you have $650,000 more of equity in your home, and you're griping about a couple $1,000s a year increase in property tax. I don't have that much sympathy in that regard. On top of that, since 2015, was the market's done? Let's take a look. So, and we can freaking get mad all we want at Jerome Powell, all that, but why can't we take a win on occasion? So we're gonna go to portfolio visualizer, and we're gonna just put VTI in from 2015 till today. So we gotta do 2015 till now. So his house went up by, 350 to $1 million schmackaroonies. We'll just say at $100,000 in VTI, that went to 225. All right, so he increased his net worth just in this regard. 651, that's 125, by $775,000. His net worth increased, and he's griping about a couple $1,000s increase in property tax. I got no sympathy for that, or empathy, whatever the word is. I'm saying, okay, well, welcome to the world of heavy living, there, guy. You know what I'm saying? You got $1 million, in your equity in your home that you didn't have before. You're gonna have to pay property tax on that, or you could always get out the hell out of Austin. Well, I don't want to. All right, well, that's on you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Move to Alabama. A hell lot cheaper. You freaking lock in low property tax. And once you're over 65, there's no state property tax in Alabama. You're still going to have your county property tax, but it's cheap, dude. I don't want to, though. I like Austin. I like the bats, and I like the liberal policies, and I like people pooping on the street. It's great. Keep Austin weird, Josh. Okay. You pay for what you get there, guy. I don't know why people can't take a W, man. We've had an amazing run in equities and asset values. Well, it's fake. I'm literally sitting here right now. I got a bug up there in my house that is putting a shelter over my head for 10 years. This literally is not fake. This is real. You know what I'm saying? This literally exists. I see it right here. It's real. It exists. My portfolio was down after 2020. At the end of April, beginning of April, something like that, 2020, it's gone up what 80% since then or something like that. It's not fake. Could it dissipate? Sure, but it's sitting here today for my consumption if I want, and you too. I, but the price of potatoes cost more. Yeah, I get that. Again, don't you're focusing on the wrong people. It's not the Fed. The Fed is doing us right by trying to give us reward money for being savers as opposed to giving the store away to hedge fund managers with their leverage. I just don't get why people on the right can't get this. It's the weirdest thing to me, man. People on the right have this lore of capitalism, like these hedge fund managers and these, freaking these clowns, Michael Milken and all these guys. Like, oh, they're just extracting value where before it wasn't there. I'm like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. They're taking value from you, shareholders, from middle class Americans who happen to be your base voters, just throwing out there. And they're ruining a good thing. And of course, they're making a bad word of the word capitalism. And we know capitalism was derived from a long time ago. And you can use it right or wrong. I don't care anymore. I used to be very like, oh, how dare you say capitalism is bad? But whatever, I don't care. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. But what I'm just trying to say is, dude, we have significant growth in assets, be it paper, equities, or be it freaking real assets. To discount that and say my property taxes are way through the roof, well, there's a solution to that. You can get the hell out of Texas, dude. I mean, that's all there is to it. And by the way, I paid $25,000 to Governor Kemp in taxes last year. How much did you pay in Texas? How much did you pay in Texas in income tax? How much did you pay your clown Governor Abbott in income tax? I paid $25,000 to Governor Kemp. If I was an hour and a half that way in Chattanooga, I would have paid nothing, and my property tax would be lower as well. I moved there in 2 seconds flat. Other than I have still got kids who I don't want to take out of school because I promised them this would be our last move until they all graduated. So we got 3 more years of crazy Governor Kemp and his stupid Puffy Barger, Secretary of State. And that guy will probably win governorship once crazy Kemp goes away because it's all clean and fair. Your vote matters. Your vote counts. It does. It's fair elections. Absolutely. No shenanigans there with friggin' Brad Puffy Barger. Anyway. All right, so let's keep going back here. So anyway, point being is price of food has gone up. Absolutely. Real estate taxes have gone up. I live in a high tax county, Fulton County, Georgia. And why? Well, why did these things go up? Because the cost of energy went up significantly, and the restricting on fossil fuels, the restricting on developing new sources of energy, electricity particularly, the restrictions on synthetic fertilizers, and that's just a fact. We can argue this all day long, and you're wrong. I'm right. So now we have transportation services are up 11%. Transportation doesn't mean crap to me because my cars are paid for. You see what I'm saying? I'm not buying a new car, but you're gonna buy a new car. Yeah, that's not part of CPI. CPI is literally your balance. I talk about this in my book here too. CPI is a change in the price of the goods that you consume on a regular basis to maintain a certain standard of living. All right. So we use cash flow statement. Why would a car be in your cash flow statement? It's not. It's in your balance sheet. Now, the loan that you pay for a car, which if you have to take a loan to buy a car, that will be reflected in your cash flow statement. But that doesn't change because most likely your loan isn't changing every month. Your loan, I guarantee, is set at a fixed term. So the loan should be reflected in your cash flow statement, the actual money that you're paying. On the balance sheet, you have an asset for $10,000 and you have a liability for $10,000. They wash out. If you buy a car on debt on the balance sheet, it's going to wash out. Your loan will add. You'll have an increase in your liabilities, and you have an increase in your assets by the same amount of money. Now, what happens is you have a depreciating asset in the car. The value of the car goes down. Well, so doesn't your loan amount go down. You see what I'm saying? The cash flow statement, though, is what would be reflected. What CPI should really be focused on is what is a cash flow? Cash flow, it says, how much does it cost to maintain my standard of living for the stuff I buy frequently? Stuff I buy frequently is what utility bills, property taxes, food, entertainment, all these things. The cost to buy a newer used car or lease a newer used car is once every 5 years, once every 10 years. That's it. And that's going to be reflected on the balance sheet. It should not be reflected on CPI because it's a cash flow item. It's not a cash flow item. Again, if you read my book, you know I talk about that. It says explicitly in there. That's why the thing about this freaking stupid transportation ticks me off so much. And shelter ticks me off too, because again, shelter, the way they look at shelter with owner's equivalent rent, how much would it cost to rent your house to yourself today? Oh, $3,000. Okay. The used cost $2,500. So now we have that increase in the rent, but I'm not renting. Okay. It doesn't matter. But that rent that I'm not renting to myself is a significant portion of CPI. That is over 33, over a third of CPI is reflected in OER. And then you actually have actual rents too. Do people have an actual rent increase every month? No. Does it change on a yearly basis? Maybe, but certainly not a monthly basis. So CPI should be reflected in the cash flow statement. Cash flow statement has nothing to do with my OER or even renting a house because I don't rent my house, dude. It's freaking insanity. People don't get this. They just say, oh my goodness, the cost of a car. I can't believe how much more expensive it is relative to CPI. If a car has nothing to do with CPI. Buying a refrigerator has nothing to do with CPI. But it's reflected in here as if it means something. It's freaking dumb, man. Does that mean there's no inflation? No. But to look at like some idiots in my realm, who I write about in my book, I don't name, but look at the price of gas at the pump. That's inflation. Oh, so now gas on the pump is lower. Are we in deflation, guy? The only freaking inflation that matters is how much does it cost to maintain your cash flow. So your cash flow to maintain your standard of living. How much are you spending today? I'm spending $50,000 on my day-to-day items to maintain my standard of living that I purchase on a regular basis. How much did I spend next year? I spent $52,500. We take these two things, our real inflation in that regard, would have, in this case, a 5% inflation. And that's all that matters. If what it costs to maintain my certain standard of living on a regular basis is $50,000 and next year it costs $52,500, my personal inflation rate is 5%. I don't care what freaking BLS says. It's stupid. Dumb. But no one knows that because no one takes the time to figure out their budget. Neither do I. I don't know. I don't know what mine is. But when people say, oh my goodness, the dollar is crashing. Like, it is? Why? Because of CPI. Oh, have you seen what the price of gas is lately, Josh? Oh my goodness. Well, gas has gone down. It's $2.99 here in Georgia. So I guess we're in deflation. It's all personal thing, man. All personal. You got to look at your personal stuff. Real wages are way down, 100%. That's bad. That's bad, man. Yeah, I don't know what they were, Cooper. I was using that for an example. No idea. All I know is when we lived in Texas, we lived in South Texas, we had a house that was worth appraised at $320. Even with our homestead exemption, we paid $7,500 in property tax. I think Texas has a 2% property tax by and large in Texas. All right, so I pay $9,000. I pay $8,000 property taxes for this house in Fulton County, Georgia. I pay $25,000 of income tax. Yep. There you go. It's all relative. All right, so let's keep going back. I want to read what else we got here. All right, so there's medical care commodities was up 4%. New vehicles, used vehicles down 6.6. Interesting. I love how they have all items less energy and food. They call that the volatile energy and food sector. Well, this is what I use on a regular basis, fools. I use energy. I'm using energy as we sit here today, right now. It's electricity. You're not using electricity to fly, by the way. You're using good old-fashioned energy, fossil fuels. That has a price, and that price is going up by decree. They don't want you flying. They don't want the rabble-rousers next to the rich elite in food. So all items less the volatile food and energy, as the volatile food and energy can be excluded from my inflation. Look, I know all you guys saying Josh is wrong, inflation's bad. I'm not saying that in the least. I'm not saying it's not bad in the least. I'm saying we're measuring it incorrectly. And if we measure it correctly, we'd focus our ire on where it should be against a green globalist agenda. But everyone wants to focus on Jerome Powell. I love Jerome Powell, man. Jerome Powell, you come on over here, I'll kiss you, Jerome Powell. I'll even kiss Janet Yellen if she'll let me. I'll give her a big old smooch. Mwah! Thanks, Janet. And they're all scumbags, they're all globalists, don't get me wrong, but I'd give them a big smooch. Mwah! Thank you for raising interest rates. It's a good thing. Hopefully they'll get some leverage out there. Hopefully some zombified companies will go the way of the dodo bird and we'll have a better, more stellar economic growth output going forward, hopefully. At the end of the day, though, they're not the issues. It's always the green globalist agenda. And it's kind of like when what's that stupid guy's name? Kramer, not Kramer from CNBC, but a Republican congressman. I'm going to show that Biden is corrupt. Like my man Sundance over the conservative treehouse says, well, if you had all this evidence, why did you wait till Wednesday to show Biden's corrupt with the same time that something on Biden's illegal immigration thing is coming to? Why are you waiting to take out oxygen if Biden's giving away the store to our southern border? Why wouldn't you have done that on Sunday on the morning talk shows? Why would you not release their evidence? The Republicans are just as corrupt as Democrats do. That's all there's to. Now, the Democrats would put you in jail for not doing things, I grant you. The Republicans won't do that. They just want money. The Democrats want power. They want power to throw you in prison. You know, they want to go a la put you. They want to look. You're like Nelson Mandela. Look, we got guys on January 6th are going to prison. It's like Nelson Mandela for January 6th, guys. That's what the Democrats want. The Republicans don't want that. They just want to be left alone to make money and go down to Epstein Island. That's all they care about. The Democrats want to make money to go to Epstein Island, but they want to make money to go to Epstein Island while you're rotting in prison. They want you to know because they're all evil. They're evil. I mean, they sold their souls to Satan, and they want to inflict pain. The Republicans just want to freaking have some fun with the ladies. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to inflict pain. They just want to have fun because they're all geeks. Republican. I use this a lot, but Tom Mountain from the second in command of the Republican Party in Massachusetts, big scumbag, just a fat blob, ugliest. He's never had a girlfriend, and he got what's it called, catfished by what he thought was an Israeli young lady, was minor, and he was like saying all kinds of just despicable things on Facebook. He was hacked, of course he was. And he was second in command in the Republican Party in Massachusetts. And they were trying to take out the number one command. This is because Charlie Baker was going anyway. So they're trying to take out the number one guy. I forgot why. Something about gays. Something stupid. He wasn't angry enough about one of his lieutenants said something negative about gays. So basically had to call for his head because this is the Republican Party now. This is the Democrats. So he wasn't forceful enough in defending gay rights when someone said, "No, we don't jive with that," and one of his lieutenants in the Massachusetts GOP. And because he wasn't strong enough and fired her and basically sent her off to freaking Siberia, this is the Republicans who wanted his head. And they were going to replace him with Tom Mountain, who was catfished by a fake person that he thought was some 13-year-old Israeli girl or something like that, allegedly. I guess I got to throw that out there. And Tom Mountain is a big, just guys never seen, just not a handsome guy. Let's put it that way. A guy who just kind of like the new CDC director just failed upwards. Like, how does this guy get in prominence? Because he keeps failing upwards, man. Because the globalists want him there, without question. Anyway, so that's the Republican Party. You know what I'm saying? They just want to have fun with the ladies, and the Democrats want to have fun with the ladies and fellas, and they want you in pain. That's what they want. 100%, Julia. Personal inflation rate is what matters. 100%. Helping out children can put inflation stress on your portfolio. Dude, trust me, dude. I'm helping out children every freaking day. I wish I would have followed this guy. Braces are our biggest scam since sliced bread. We all know that. But I've had now 4 sets of braces, and that freaking costs a lot of money. Let's put it that way. Not for me. Look at these pearly yellows. No braces here. I made it by just fine. No braces. But everyone thinks, we have to have perfect teeth. Braces are good, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes they are. The vast majority of times they're probably not. It's a hack. It's an ADA, racket, the ADA and their fluoride stuff. I mean, it's all racket. Everybody's a racket, dude. I mean, I'm a racket. Everybody's a racket, 100%. Anyway, the point being is at the end of the day, raising kids is a freaking expensive proposition. There's no two ways around that. Especially young boys when they eat like freaking monsters. Both my kids are taller than me. I still got 50, 60 pounds on them, but the way they eat, they'll probably be able to take me. Even though on the basketball court, I'm still taking Liam one-on-one. I still got him. I used to be able to shoot over him. Now he can block my shot, so I got to get a new. So I have this little left jump hook now. I'm like the Celtics last night, just throwing up bricks. Liam I tell you, man, I doomed Liam with my Boston sports fan. I never liked the Celtics, so I never participated in the '80s Celtics. When they won against the Lakers or anything like that. But or the '70s, they didn't do much. But with Bill, I was well before my time. But anyway, I never liked the Celtics. But the Bees, the Pats, and the Bruins, or the Bees, the Pats, and the Red Sox. I said, Liam, because he watched the Celtics last night. He said, why you turn the game off? He goes, because they're down. I can't take it anymore. I said, oh, welcome to my world, man. Welcome to my world. Now the Celtics now 3-2 going into Philly. I said, see, the difference between you, the Celtics, Liam, and all the other Boston teams is the Celtics are probably going to come back and win the series. The other Boston teams, on the other hand, the Bruins will go in Montreal, and the Bruins will have a 3-2 lead going into Montreal, and they'll blow that game. They'll come home and they'll lose in overtime. The Bruins did it in Florida, did Montreal a bunch of times in Montreal. They've done it against the Hurricanes. They always do that. They have a 3-2 lead, and they'll lose the series. The Celtics, on the other hand, will have a 3-2 deficit. And last year they came back and beat the Bucks. I said, this is the difference. The Celtics are blessed. Everybody else in Boston's cursed. And they're going to come back to win. He goes, I don't know, Dad. I think Jason Tatum's going to have a monster game, but it's just so. If you would have told me this 3 years ago, I would have no at all. The NBA was dead to me. And it still kind of is dead to me. But, if one of my kids likes it, I like hanging out with one of my kids. It's fun to talk about. It's fun talking sports. Oh, 100%. How dare you, Boss Tweed? How dare you disagree with the science? All right, let's keep looking here at CPI. How dare you, Boss Tweed? Go back to being a boss. All right, so what the food index was unchanged. The food index at home. So remember, food at home is up 7.1%. Food away from home is up 8.6%. All right, so we got to be careful on eating out, guys. Let me just see if my man Sundance says his take on CPI. Yes, look at my man Sundance over here. Check this out. Just like I was talking about, man. The clown show that is Republican Party. All part of the globalist agenda. Watch, just like we just talked about. To take the oar off of Sniffy Joe, Chairman Comer holds press conference outlining payments to Biden family from foreign governments. Yep. We have now established a network. Let's see. In the press conference, the committee members outlined Romanian and Chinese individuals. All right, so why weren't you producing this? Why weren't you producing this before, Comer? Why now? Oh, why now? Because we want to take it off what's going on the southern border. That's what we want to do. Clown show. All right, let's keep going. Because nothing's going to happen to Hunter Biden. They're going to arrest people. Who they arrest? George Santos. He's been, they got to go after George Santos. They're not going after any of the Biden crime family. It's crazy. The whole thing, dude, is so friggin' corrupt. To put your hope in politicians is nuts. I mean, I hope the Republicans win because, again, they don't going to be evil to me. But the idea that the Republicans are going to give me some kind of salvation is insanity. But the idea the federal government is going to be there for us, you're crazy, dudes. They're going after Santos after all the stuff that Sniffy Joe, the Biden crime family, Hillary Clinton. I mean, they go after Trump and Santos, and Biden and all these other clowns are just Nancy Pelosi. I mean, it's crazy, man. You know it, I know it. And don't get frustrated because nothing you can do. Just laugh at it, man. Local restaurant started charging an extra fee for employee health. Yeah, that's just stupid, man. So I say, all right, well, if you're going to charge an extra fee for employee health, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save my fee and have better health by making my own food. So I'm going to make some BLTs today. So I don't eat out very much. When my wife is out of town, I just make food. I like, so I made some chicken thighs last night, bake some, make some BLTs tonight. I'm going to make some steaks, my New York strip tomorrow. I got a nice whole freaking chicken. I'll freaking this weekend I'll smoke. Home cooked food's the way to go. Saves the money. It's healthier too, man. Now, look, a lot of this stuff is going to be processed. I get all that. 100%. I can't grow my own chickens. I can't grow. I mean, some potatoes and whatnot, but by and large, you're going to be eating some processed stuff that's still bad for you. It's still a hell of a lot better than going to a restaurant. That's all there is to it. So food at home is what your priority should always be. 100%. You want to reduce your cost for food at home. Reduce your costs. Don't go out and buy a beer. For heaven's sake. Look, I'm a teetotaler. It must be easier for me. Dude, I was listening to my man Grady Smith. You all follow him as a country music guy on YouTube. I'm a big fan of Grady. He was doing something about the band Perry, the rise and fall of the band Perry the other night. And he's advertising for some app that kind of follows your spending habits. And he said, dude, I didn't know, like he just moved from Virginia to Nashville. He goes, I did not know that I was spending like $400 a month at this bar. Because I was like, man, when I saw that, I said, I got to cut back. Basically, that's a lot of money, man. $400 a month at a bar. I'm sure it's for food and drink, but he's like, dude, Nashville's a very expensive town. When people come by, see old Grady, he's going to take him out and stuff because I'm not going to be doing that all the time. Anyway, so that's it. So you spend money out. Don't buy beer. Just drink water. Ask if it can be not fluoridated, whatever. But don't do that. I told my wife, just stop buying iced tea. We don't drink. I said, whenever we go out, just don't buy the iced tea. That right there is 10% of the bill. That one little thing. Don't do it. Yeah, what I got some in the bacon. I tried making some bacon, Richard. It didn't taste as good, so I'm gonna try it again. The interesting thing is the bacon. The freaking you know what I'm talking about. The thing that makes the bacon, the piece of meat that makes the bacon, not pork loins. What the hell it's called? Not Boston butt. The thing that freaking you buy to make the bacon. Anyway, it's just a lot of meat on there. I was like, why? Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like, what? Anyway, so I tried making some. It didn't taste very good. It was okay, but it wasn't that good. So I'm gonna try it again. And I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try again until I perfect it because homemade bacon kicks ass. Pork belly, there's good. That's right, pork belly. And because I love bacon. And freaking. So anyway, long story short, so I bought some pork belly from Costco, vacuum sealed it. I separated it into a couple different containers so I can experiment here and experiment. Actually, I'll do that this week, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So what you got to do is you got to experiment. You got to put it in to cure or whatever for like a week in your fridge. A lot of pretty good videos on that, and I'm gonna mess around with that this time. So I'm looking forward to it. Pork belly, yeah. Ooh, my man Sundance disagrees with you. He doesn't. He thinks Comer is part of the big agenda to keep Sniffy Joe from being held accountable for his immigration stuff. Oh, dude, hey, my man Liberty. Were you here? Yeah, Elizabethton, freaking Tennessee, that area up there. Did you hear what I was talking about the moon landing? Were you here? So I brought you up. Said the Liberty 1776. He's an adamant believer of the moon landing. He said, why don't the Russians tell us it didn't happen? And now the Russians are telling us it didn't happen. Crazy. All right, then we'll cut. Yeah, I go with Sundance. Sundance is I'm not going to watch their stupid press conference. I go with I mean, look, it's better that we're there than not. Absolutely. But my man Sundance at Conservative Treehouse has never stirred me wrong. So if he says this is all part of a head fake to get us taken away from the invasion on the southern border and the crime that is being happened there by Sniffy Joe, I believe him. Now that doesn't mean we can't sit there and say these are evil things that the Biden crime family is doing too. But I think 100% Sundance is right. We're focused on Hunter, while we got this criminal element that's allowing the border to be just there's nothing there. It's crazy, man. Yeah, we got some BOGOs on bacon at Publix, but I just like Costco bacon. Costco. I love Costco, dude. Costco kicks ass. All there is to it. All right, so let's finish this up with more look at CPI, and then we'll get you out of here. I got to call at 4 anyway. So we're going to come down here. So right here. So here's CPIW. The consumer price, CPIW increased 4.6 over the last 12 months, where CPIU increased 4.9. CPIU increased 4.9. All right. Let's see here. What else I want to point out here? All right, right here. The consumer price index measures the change in prices paid by consumers for goods and services. Oh, okay. Owner's equivalent rent are goods and services, are they? Who would have thought? The CPI reflects spending patterns for each of two population groups, all urban consumers and urban wage earners. The all urban consumer group represents 90%. So you always want to look at CPIU to get a broad base. It is based, someone should write a book on this. Oh, I just did. It is based on the expenditures of almost all residents, right there. Not including CPI are the armed forces, farming families, and people in rural areas, right? Let's see here. The CPIs are based on the prices of food, clothing, shelter, transportation. The big ones right here. Shelter and transportation that are pretty much meaningless to us when you own your own home, you have a fixed rate mortgage, and you have cars that you're not buying on a regular basis. All right. That people buy for a day-to-day living. Are you all hearing that? The CPIs are based on prices of various things that people buy for day-to-day living. Prices are collected each month in 75 urban areas across the country. All right. All the price of fuels and a few other items are obtained every 75 locations. All right. And calculating the index. Price changes for the various items in each location are aggregated using weights, which represent the importance in the spending habits of the appropriate population group, which is what they interview through the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the Consumer Expenditure Survey. Someone should write a book about this. Oh, I did. Buy the book. Local data are then combined to obtain a U.S. city average. All right, so again, price changes for the various items in each location are aggregated using weights, which represent their importance in the spending of appropriate population group. So when you interview somebody and you say, what is your shelter cost? The first thing is say, well, my property taxes are $5,000 a year. My maintenance is probably $2,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah, we don't want to know that. We want to know how much it costs to rent your house to yourself. Huh? Yeah, I know that's important. It's actually so important. It's going to be a third of overall CPI. I don't know how much the rents go around here. I don't know. Can you give us an estimate? $3,000? Yeah, there you go, Judge. $3,000 is a third of overall CPI. That's science, baby. That's science. The index measures price change from a design reference point in 1982. Right there equals 100. Let's see if they talk about OER in here. Owners. Right here. Oh, right here. My favorite thing ever. The index for all items listed, volatile food and energy, rose 0.4%. The shelter index increased by 0.4% over the month after rising 0.6% in March. The index for rent rose 0.6%. Again, rent by itself is like, off the top of my head, it's like 9% of total CPI. I don't rent, so why would that matter to me? It doesn't matter to you either, most likely. And even if it did, it shouldn't matter on a month-to-month basis or a day-to-day basis. And the index for OER rose by 0.5%. Crazy. The index for lodging away from home decreased 3%. All right, there you go. That's all I got. What questions, comments, concerns you all have? Looks like we're almost chatting on Rumble. What's up, everybody? Yeah, Costco kicks ass. I know they're libs. They're the ribs that are doing it right. I will say, though, I was at Costco, I was talking to some guy the other day. They have this whiteboard, speaking of whiteboard, and they're saying, the how much, Joni rang up 50 people over 5 hours or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Misty rang up 40 people over 5 hours. They definitely have them racked and stacked at Costco. That's a fact. And so while they treat their employees well financially, they drive a hard bargain for sure, man. For sure. All right, so anything else on your guys' mind? Let's see. Yeah, right there. Bruins with Cheevers with Riley Cashman. And who is he? Remember Tom? Who was a coach of the Bruins back then? Here's my man Jim. He's a Sixers fan. He still thinks the Celtics will win. The Sixers fans are the biggest bandwagon fans ever, dude. That's all there's to. At least the Flyers, they sell out. If the Sixers aren't winning, they only get like 8,000 in the stadium. It's crazy. The Flyers always sell out, though. The Sixers, man, they only sell out when they win. So is you still here, Tom? Who was the coach of the Bruins? And I think it was the 78. All right, maybe. We'll see, Jill. We'll see. Them fighting words. You calling Sundance wrong? How dare you, Jill? How dare you? Children and grandchildren should have its own line for expenses. For most tribes, this is more than the proper 100%. I agree with that. Yeah, I do self-checkout too. Joe, I think you're putting too much faith in the Republican Party, and that's okay. No, it's kind of like, my man putting too much faith in the Don Cherry. That's right. Look at Tom. Right on, Tom. You got to be an Irishman from Boston, right? Are you a drunken Irishman? I love me some drunken Irish Bostoners. I love me. Remember, so here's a Boston. Look, you guys don't know this unless you're a fan of Boston sports. So what? I asked my son this because he would not know. What chant did the Boston fans say when the Celtics lost the Sixers? And I think it was 1982 or 1983. I can't remember. When there's a game 7, I can't remember what game. It was game 5. I forgot. But anyway, the series was ending in Boston, and the Boston fans chanted something in unison. What chant was that? You guys remember? So remember, Boston fans, they started the Darrow. What? No, I don't ignore Pablo at all, Leisure. Pablo's on my butt like 24/7, dudes. Trust me, I don't ignore him at all. He comes, he hears my tone. Says, all right, I guess that's it. He's like, oh, Dad's getting off, but he's on me. So the Celtics were playing the Sixers. The winner was going to go advance to play the Lakers in the NBA championship. And the Boston fans started in unison, this one chant. One chant. It was the early 80s. And I think, Boston beat the Rockets. Boston beat the Rockets one year, and the Rockets beat the Lakers in the NBA Western Conference Finals. And the Sixers with Moses Malone, they beat the Rockets too. So I think the Sixers ended up losing to the Lakers in that NBA championship. Does anyone know? I don't ignore my other dog in the least. Finnegan and Pablo are on me all the time. All right. I'll share it with you if we don't have any answers here. So the Boston fans are awesome. And of course, Kyrie, the fool, they're racist. That pissed me off about Kyrie. It's like, I like Kyrie Irving, his stance on a lot of things, but to say that Boston fans are racist, I think no, good one, good attempt. That Neil Diamond song, nope, they didn't chant that. That was a stupid thing for Kyrie to say. Oh, they're racist. I was like, come on, Kyrie. Everybody's racist. Anybody know? Anybody know? All right, I'm going to tell you. They said BLA. BLA. How awesome is that? BLA. BLA. Now, look, I was a Lakers fan back then. But how awesome is that to say to the team who just beat you, we love you more than we hate the other team more than we hate you. So BLA. Classic Boston sports fan stuff. And again, the Daryl's chant with Daryl Strawberry. If you ever seen the Simpsons episode, Daryl Strawberry's in right field crying. It's actually pretty funny. Daryl. Now everyone uses that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Don Cherry was a coach for Boston against Montreal, and Don Cherry, he didn't like American hockey players. He was Canadian all around. It's just kind of funny. He coached the Boston Bruins, and they gave up a goal to lose against Canadians. Always the case, freaking Canadians. It's all right, Jill. No, you don't need to be offensive. I do think there are a few good people there willing to fight. Yeah, but a few is all it takes sometimes. Yeah, I agree. I just don't think we have enough, but that's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Still good life. Still good world. I don't want the system to collapse. People, I want that system. Like, I'm not like, I just want to see it burn. I'm not like that at all. I like the system. I despise a lot of it, but the system it gives us the lifestyle we've come accustomed to. I don't want it to collapse. It's going to ultimately. When, where, how, I don't know. I hope I'm long gone. I hope my kids are long gone for sure. But I think we probably when all said and done, got a good 50 years left of us of a pretty good life, and then it'll slowly, decline, get decayed. But I think we're doing all right. Would I put all my money in any one thing? No. But at the end of the day, what we learned from the Great Depression is don't owe anybody, and you can survive a hell of a lot better than you do owe people. Well, what we don't want the sheriff coming to your house for failure to pay, man. Right on. Wasn't that pretty funny? That was great. Daryl Strawberry. I think that was when Mr. Burns, when he told Don Mattingly to cut his sideburns or something like that. Oh my goodness. Simpsons used to be good, and they went, wait. Oh, look, Leisure, I'm giving Pablo a kiss. This is the only kiss I give him. Why do you think Pablo's always here? Because he knows Dad, I'm in charge. All right, I'm going to get out of here, my friends. God bless. We'll see you guys, and we'll see you guys, don't forget, on next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. We're going to be doing a live stream. So come on. We'll see you guys.